Following in the footsteps of Diagon Alley and Gringotts, Lego has just released Hogsmeade, which is the next Ultimate Collector Editions set from Harry Potter. This one has over 3,200 pieces, comes with 12 minifigs, and a lot of stickers. When this set was announced, I was critical of it in terms of its price and the lack of complex building techniques that I saw at the time. So when we review this set independently in this video, I'm going to talk about all of those aspects and tell you which one of those criticisms I was right about and one that I was wrong. Let's dive in. The front of the box is the typical 18+ artwork featuring the set on a black background. The length of the set takes up the entire front of the box, which should tell you just how big it is. The top shows off all of the minifigures and features Aberforth Dumbledore on the right-hand side. The back shows off the reverse side of the set and some play features along with interior details and the set's dimensions. Inside the box are 30 numbered bags and 3 instruction manuals. There are also 3 sticker sheets giving you a preview of just how many of those you'll need to apply to build this. The manuals have the grayish-white background we see for many sets and yet lacks the Easter eggs or the trivia inside that we get for 18+ style sets these days. I like that each manual corresponds to a different base plate and its buildings, which would allow you to build this set together with other people. There are 12 minifigures in this set, ranging from your typical characters of Harry, Hermione, and Ron, as well as some obscure minifigures. The 3 main characters each receive new torsos, with Harry having a black jacket with a silver zipper and dark blade pocket outlines. Hermione has a dark blade jacket with black buttons and brown square pattern. She has a dark blade belt with a buckle and a purple, white, and dark blade patterned scarf. Ron has a reddish-brown jacket with orangish buttons and black pocket outlines. He also has a zip-up sweater underneath of that. Their legs and hair pieces are unremarkable except for Ron, who has a dark orange dual-molded piece with a dark blue beanie. This is the first time we're getting that piece with the orange color. The other 2 Hogwarts students, Draco and Katie Bell, are not terribly unique, I suppose. Draco has a black jacket with dark blade vest and white shirt underneath, while Katie has a dark red hoodie with black trim and a red scarf. Her torso is more rare than Draco's, as it's the 3rd time we're getting this in a set. Her black hair, which is swept to the left, has been seen more often than that, but only in Disney sets, and I gotta say, this is a really nice hair piece. The magical experts, Professors McGonagall and Slughorn, along with Cornelius Fudge, have some rarer torsos. Fudge's black pinstripe suit with white button-down and dark blue tie has appeared 4 times prior. McGonagall's dark green robes, black dress, and brooch have appeared just once before in another Harry Potter set this year for McGonagall's figure. Slughorn's reddish-brown jacket with checkered vest, striped shirt, and dark tan and brown bow tie is brand new. The shop proprietors and staff all have unique torsos. Madame Rosmerta has a tan shirt with dark orange jacket and necklace. Mrs. Flume has a dark pink shirt with light purple sleeves, a light purple sweater, and green tie with ornate decorations. And then she also has a set of printed legs with an apron. Aberforth Dumbledore has printed legs with checkered robes. The purple robes on his torso cover a brown shirt with gold buttons, although this ensemble is obscured by his beard. Finally, the shop staff over at Zonko's has a dark coat with white sleeves, dots, and a wonderful looking bow tie. This certainly is a mixed bag in terms of minifigs. I appreciate that we get some obscure minifigs in this one, even though we are getting Harry, Hermione, and Ron yet again. I think one thing that's noticeable is the lack of leg printing for a lot of these minifigures, and I personally would give up some of the new torsos in exchange for printed robes for some of the main characters, especially Madame Rosmerta and Professor McGonagall. It's nice to have that flowiness to the robes continue all the way down to the legs and the skirt piece, and that's just not included here, and it's not as good of a minifig selection with that. So that's that mixed bag that we see with the minifigs. There's a lot to building this set. Even though it's just over 3,000 pieces and smaller than Gringotts and Diagon Alley, you still have to build 7 different establishments, most of which have fairly unique facades, but you also have to navigate the roof lines and some of the other features that make these shops unique. There also were a ton of different elements in this set, which we'll break down along with the building techniques in this section of the review. In my initial reaction to the set, I criticized the seemingly lack of interesting building techniques. But I was a bit wrong, as the owl post is one of the first parts that you built, and it has a really fun angle included in it. You use a hinge piece and some wedge plates to set the angle, and it's a subtle effect that adds positively to the building experience. Its roof is nothing all that special, just some slopes placed on top of the building with snow piled up in front of it. Dervish and Bangs may be the simplest and most disappointing build, although it is copied later on with another establishment. It's only 6 studs wide, has some nice pearl gold trim in the form of door rail pieces, and once again stacks slopes to create the roof. Honeydukes, however, was a lot of fun to build. The sand green curved windows, which are new in this color, sit atop some telescope pieces offset by half a stud in some cases. The curved window popping out of the roof is nicely built with some snot techniques. The roof is attached in 2 installments via clips, then locked into place with some wedge plates. The 3 broomsticks was a blast to build, which surprised me. There were some nice building techniques both inside and out. These brick-built arches using dinosaur tails were cool on the interior, as was how the corner booth came together. The roof was a special build as you put it together with plates, then you slide it in place. It's not attached via any studs, but rests sturdily in place thanks to both gravity and these 2x2 tiles that prevent it from moving all that much. The highlight is the windows that bend up using hinge bricks. This was a bit repetitive, but the asymmetry and the end result was worth it. The third base plate includes the Hogshead, Scrivenshaft's Quill Shop, and Zonko's. Scrivenshaft's is the least enticing because it basically copies Dervish and Bangs, except that it's missing the light blade plates at the entrance. It includes a narrow chimney, and you swap out the dark green windows and the door with sand blue versions. The Hogshead is bulkier in person than I thought it would be. It has 4 posts supporting an overhanging series of windows, and the roof is the most special part of this building, as you attach 2 roof sections to some clips. Door rail plates are used where the 2 sections meet up at the pinnacle, which is a subtly good technique. Really though, Zonko's was the highlight to build. It definitely stands out in terms of the complex building techniques and the interior-exterior details. You know how I didn't originally think this set used any cool angles? Well, the whole front window section of Zonko's is angled in, mirroring what you do with the owl post, but longer. The hinge plate sets the angle, and the left edge isn't attached to any studs. It just rests between the wall and a stud on the sidewalk. It's pretty secure, although it might move slightly when pried at. Tying in the angled section to the roof was fascinating. You use some brackets to place white 1x2 cheese slopes acting as snow to help fill the gap in the middle. The roof again uses clips, but the snow pieces help secure everything there. In terms of pieces, this is an excellent parts pack if you like bricks and windows, doors, and modified bricks along with tiles. This set comes with 85 windows, including 35 1x2x2 flat front windows in dark brown. There are 7 doors, including a couple of newer reddish brown wood paneled versions. In addition, there are over 100 snot bricks, 30 plus brackets and snot plates, and over 400 tiles. This last number includes 52 2x3 tiles in white, which is quite a bit. There are also close to 400 regular bricks, plus more round and not snot modified bricks. And then you get a brand new sand blue door, and the sand blue 2x4 double slopes have only appeared a couple of times before. The bright pink 3x3 macaroni brick is also brand new in this color. This certainly was more fun to build than I thought it would be. It also is helpful that I love building structures, and this comes with a lot of useful pieces that will help you with your collection build more building style mocks if you want to take this apart and not use it as a display piece. Still, I would say that's probably not as enticing a build as Diagon Alley or Gringotts, but it does come pretty close to that, as the very beginning with Owl Post and the very end with Zonko's were highlights, buttressed in the middle by, well, the 3 broomsticks, which I again thought was an excellent build. The end result is a 30-inch long streetscape that is more imposing and more complex than you might originally think based on the pictures. There's certainly a charm to having a quaint set of buildings covered with snow as part of your display. The variation in facades and roof techniques makes this an interesting set to study up close. The snow covers much of the sidewalks, but not all. The same holds for the roofs. This consistency is a nice touch that shows the set designer was paying attention to these small details. The Three Broomsticks is definitely the most prominent building. It's bigger than the others, both in terms of width and height. A street sign pointing one way to Hogwarts and another to the village's train station is placed to the left of its entrance for this reason. The black street lamps with pointy tops feel appropriate for the set, and the bendy chimneys bring a touch of magic to the street's ambiance. One important component of this set is that the establishments look unique, yet at the same time fit within the Harry Potter universe. This was partly accomplished by placing wares in the store windows, as well as the Sirius Black Wanted sign posted outside of Scriven Shafts. The architecture of the Three Broomsticks would not be replicated in a normal city or modular building. The uneven windows at staggered intervals look quintessentially Potteresque. A subtle detail that stands out to me is the overhang at the Hogshead. The sidewalk underneath is snow-free. It's a small touch, but nice to see that covered sections like this or under the rounded windows of Honeydukes are consistent. The interiors are very shallow, which is similar to Diagon Alley. Still though, there are lots of details. The owl post has quite a few letters, plus a snowy owl awaiting its next assignment. Darvish and Bangs doesn't have much space, but it does have a cauldron and some packages. Honeydukes has quite a few displays on the inside, a tiled first floor, and additional goods upstairs. The Three Broomsticks has a counter, a corner booth where our protagonist, or maybe even Professor Slughorn, can sit. You've got a warm fireplace, two chandeliers, a sitting room, an office, an attic, and a bathroom. Over at the Hogshead, there is a little counter section with a hogshead and some kegs, a small table with a seat, a meeting room on the second floor where the DA forms and comes together for the first time, and a bedroom on the third floor. There is a portrait that opens the secret passageway to the Room of Requirement over at Hogwarts, and it's built with the same techniques as the one in the Room of Requirement gift with purchase. Scriven Shafts is full of quills, a typewriter, and parchment, while Zonko's has a dark red and black checkered floor, boxes on shelving units, and a second floor cash register. All told, there's a lot to like here if you are a Harry Potter fan. There are quite a few details on the interior and exterior that allow you to connect with that universe. And of course, there's enough details on the interior that even though there aren't a lot of play features, it's a very playable set. You can enact a lot of different scenes from the movies, and you can combine them with Gringotts and Diagon Alley, which makes it even better if you want one large streetscape that is Harry Potter related. Now, I acknowledge these are not in the same geographic areas within the Harry Potter universe, but I think for play purposes, that would be fine. The last thing I do want to note is that these are rather flexible and versatile in how you display them. You could use these as a Winter Village display, and in fact, we're probably going to be doing that later on this year when we make our annual Winter Village display over at my parents' house. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see that. All right, it is time for our rating and recommendations. And you might recall at the beginning of the video, I said that I was right about some things and wrong about others when Lego announced this set. I was wrong about some of the elements of building techniques here, as the angles on Zonko's and the owl post definitely impressed me. And some of the roofing techniques, especially here with the Three Broomsticks, were very impressive. However, I was right about some things. First, I want to say that this is not as detailed or as positive or strong of a build as Diagon Alley. That one is significantly better, and I think it has better details than even this one. Now, you might argue that's because that set is over 5,500 pieces, and this one is just over 3,200 pieces, and you'd be right. But even if you take a look at the number of pieces per base plate that are set up for the two sets, there's a difference. There's just more on the Diagon Alley set than there is for these. And you definitely sense that if you've built Diagon Alley and then you build this one. Even building Gringotts, there's a lot of details to that exterior of the main bank itself, disregarding the underground vault section, which again suggests that there's just more detail and it's an overall better build than this set right here. I was also right about the price. $400 for this set is far too much. For just $50 more than this, you can get Diagon Alley, which, as I said, more detailed, and there's just a lot more to it than this. Over 2,000 more pieces and 5 more minifigs. Even Gringotts, which is $20 more than this, gives you quite a few more pieces and I think a better building experience than this one. So this definitely suffers from the price increases that we have seen both here in the United States and elsewhere in the world. And I would say do not spend $400 on this set. Definitely wait for it to go on sale. Wait for it to be available on Insiders Days or Black Friday. Get double Insiders points. And by all means, maximize your gifts with purchase if you are interested in getting the set. I will also add that while you are deciding whether or not to get this set, if you don't have Diagon Alley, make sure you get that one. If you have $400, save up another $50 and get that one before it finally retires. And I would say even the same thing for Gringotts. You should have a little bit more time to pick this up over the next couple of years. That I would say get this one last because it's the least enticing of the three to me. And that is saying, that's being said as somebody who had significant criticisms about even the Gringotts set and its value. The last thing I will note when it comes to the value and how I recommend this and how I think about it is I get frustrated, not just because there are stickers in a set. I understand that Lego's apparently doing that. That's a thing, and I've accepted that. What bothers me is when we have to place stickers on rounded pieces like we do with Honeydukes, and it's very difficult to get everything to line up. It can look really weird, and it can look very unprofessional when you have a display piece where the stickers are crooked and placed over round pieces. And so I would just, again, implore Lego, I know they're not watching this, but stop giving us stickers over curved pieces. Even if you give us some stickers, I'm okay with that. I'm not 100% against it as long as they're high quality. But by all means, stop giving it or making us put stickers over curved pieces. So with those flaws, despite the fact that I really did enjoy some of the build techniques, I think the pieces are fantastic in comparison with Diagon Alley and Gringotts, as well as the overall value of the set and the lack of volume of elite minifigs in the set. I'm going with a 7 out of 10. I know that might feel a bit harsh, especially for something that costs this much, but I'm going to be honest with you. So 7 out of 10 for this one. Definitely, I recommend getting either Diagon Alley or Gringotts if you don't have those before you consider getting this one. That concludes our independent review of Hogsmeade. I hope you found it informational and educational about the set and it helped you make up your mind in terms of whether or not to purchase it. As always, thank you for watching and remember to keep building together.